David recovered all. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 18 and verse 19. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his two wives, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. We know that David is called as a man after God's own heart. When David was a shepherd boy, Samuel asks his father to call him from the wilderness, and when David enters into the house, Samuel he anoints David as the future king of Israel. Because of the disobedience of Saul, God rejects Saul as the king of Israel, and God chooses David, who was a shepherd boy, as the future king of Israel. After David is anointed as the future king of Israel, then he becomes the armor bearer to King Saul, and then he becomes musician to King Saul, and then David goes to the battlefield to give food to his brothers, and there he sees that the giant Goliath, he was challenging the children of Israel. At that point of time, David says, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who is defying the armies of the living God?" So David was very jealous at that point of time, and he takes that as a challenge and he kills Goliath. When he kills Goliath, at that time, women, they sing a song, they will sing like this: David kills 10,000s, whereas Saul kills thousands. When Saul has heard this song, Saul was planned to kill David from that point onwards. And Saul was pursuing David, and he wanted to kill David. And at one point of time, David also got the opportunity to kill Saul. But David refrains to kill Saul. David says, "How can I touch the anointed one?" So Saul is pursuing David, and David is going from one wilderness to another wilderness. He's saving his life. And finally, at one point of time, in 1 Samuel chapter 27, verse 1, and David said in his heart, "I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines. And Saul shall despair of me to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand." So finally, David decides to escape from the land of Israel. And in verse 2 it says, "And David arose and he passed over with the 600 men that were with him unto Achish, the son of Maach, king of Gath." So David finally escapes from the land of Israel, and he goes and he joins King Achish. He is the king of the Philistines. See, once upon a time, David said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who is defying the armies of the living God?" But now he goes and joins with Achish. Moreover, David is having very good quality. Whenever he goes out to battle, or whenever he is planning to do something, he inquires with the Lord. Couple of times we read in the scriptures in 1 Samuel that David, when he was about to go against war against the Philistines, he inquired with the Lord. When God said, "Go, that I am going to give you Philistines," then David went ahead and he won the war. But in this case, to save his life, he did not even bother to inquire with the Lord, but he directly went and joined king of Gath, that is Achish. See, Israelites and Philistines, they are not friends. They have enmity between themselves. See, right from the days of Abraham, these Philistines are enemies of the children of God, enemies of the chosen. But still, David is more interested to save his life than joining with the enemy. So here it says in verse 5, Achish wanted to give some place. Achish says, "You come and dwell with me in my palace. But David says, no, I am not going to dwell in the palace. Give me a city. In verse 5, 1 Samuel chapter 27, verse 5, David said unto Achish, if I have now found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the royal city with thee? See here, how is he addressing the king of the Philistine? He says, for why should thy servant? See, Philistines are enemies to the children of Israel. To Goliath, David said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine who is defying the armies of the living God? See, once upon a time he was very jealous for the name of God and for the children of Israel. But now he addresses the king of the Philistines as thy servant. David is calling himself as a servant to the enemy king. See, the first mistake what he has done, he did not inquire with the Lord whether he has to go and join with Achish or not. The second mistake, he is saying, I am your servant to a heathen king. Anointed king says, I am your servant to a heathen king. And then, see in chapter 28 and verse 1, now Achish says, and it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said to David, know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. Now Achish is asking David, we are going to wage war against the children of Israel. Why don't you come and join me? See here, this is a very big challenge for David, because he has asked a place for himself and his men to dwell there. But now Achish is testing David. We are going to wage war against your people, against the children of Israel. Why don't you join me? See, at this point of time, David should have said, I cannot come because we are going to wage war against my people. How can I come? But what David says, surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. David was ready to join the Philistine army to go against the children of Israel. The first mistake he has done is he did not inquire with the Lord. The second mistake, he says to the heathen king that I am your servant. The third mistake, he is ready to go and wage war against his own people. Now, the Philistine army was ready to wage war against children of Israel. Now, David and his men also were behind the Philistine army. They were ready to go. They were ready to go against their own people. Now, in 1 Samuel chapter 29 and verse 3, then said the princes of the Philistines, what do these Hebrews here? The princes saw that these people who are joining us, who are with us, who are coming with us to wage war against the children of Israel, these are not Philistines. These are Hebrews. That's what the princes of the Philistines say. And they call Achish and say, is not this David the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which hath been with me these days or these years? I have found no fault in him since he fell unto me unto this day. So when the princes of the Philistines, when they question Achish, why these are Hebrews, why are they coming with us? Achish is giving very good testimony about David. And in verse 4 he says, and the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him, and the princes of the Philistines said unto him, make this fellow return. The princes of the Philistines, they did not agree with Achish. See, these are Hebrews. They cannot come with us because we are going to wage war against their own people. In the war, suddenly these people may turn against us and they may kill us and they may take our heads, and this David, he may make peace with his king Saul. See, that's what they say. See in 1 Samuel chapter 29 verse 4, and the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him, and the princes of the Philistines said unto him, make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he be an adversary to us. For wherewith should he reconcile himself unto his master? Should it not be with the heads of these men? See, these say, David and his men cannot come with us because he can reconcile with his master Saul by killing our people. And they also remember in verse 5, is not this David of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s. Probably David would have forgotten the song which the women have sung, saying Saul slew thousands and David 10,000s. But the princes of the Philistines, they did not forget this song. Even David forgot. See, once upon a time, he was very jealous. He says to the Philistines, when he looks at Goliath, he says, who is this uncircumcised Philistine who is defying the armies of the living God? But now he is joining the enemy to wage war against the children of God. But God is still with David. Even though David has left the presence of God, left the land of Israel, and he has joined hands with the enemy, and he is also willing to go wage war against his own people, but God did not leave David. God used heathen people, God used the princes of Israel, and God did not allow David to go with the Philistines against the children of Israel. So finally Achish says, our princes are not agreeing that you join us, so please go back to your city. So David and his men, they go back to Ziklag, the city which Achish has given him. When they go back in chapter 30 and verse 3 of 1 Samuel, so David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. When they went back to Ziklag, they found that the city was burned with fire. Their wives, sons, daughters, they were taken as captives. And in verse 6, and David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, those who were with David, because they also lost everything. Now they were planning to stone David. At that point of time, in verse 6, last part, David encouraged himself in the Lord his God when he became alone, when there was nobody who was supporting him. David lost everything, and the men who joined with David, who came along with David, even they lost everything. But David has become, he is now alone there. Now David, what he has done? He encouraged himself in the Lord. This is the first good thing what David has done. And in verse 8 it says, 1 Samuel chapter 30 and verse 8, and David inquired at the Lord. See, now again he's going back to what he used to do earlier. Earlier David was inquiring with the Lord, and he stopped inquiring with the Lord and he directly joined King Achish, the king of the Philistines. Now he has lost everything. Now he is going back to what he was doing earlier. Now David inquired at the Lord. He said, shall I pursue after this troop? Then God said, go and pursue, you are going to overtake them. You are going to recover everything, whatever you have lost. See, David has done 3 mistakes. He did not inquire with the Lord. He's calling a heathen king as, he's addressing the heathen king as, I am your servant. And he was ready to go and wage war against his own people. Now when he lost everything, he lost his wives, he lost his sons, he lost his houses, he lost his daughters. Now when people thought of stoning him, the first thing is he encouraged himself in the Lord. The second thing, he inquired at the Lord. See, this is what we need to understand, we need to learn from the life of David. See, when he inquired with the Lord, God said to go ahead and that you are going to recover everything. In 1 Samuel chapter 30 and verse 18 and 19, and David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. When did he recover? When did David recover everything, whatever he lost? When he encouraged himself in the Lord and when he inquired at the Lord.